Welcome to the wonderful world of FCTV's Poetic License. It's February 22nd, 2024. This is a virtual mic where we share live original poetry, prose, and acoustic music. My name is Donna Scheer, and I'm happy to be the host tonight. The suggested theme is kindness. Kindness. Hello out there. So happy you found your way to our new public channel, Channel 6. I hope you have the opportunity to visit the FCTV Media Center at 310 Dillingham Avenue in Falmouth, Massachusetts. From March 4th until April 26th, the gallery walls will feature artwork by Patrick Lawhead and Nancy Duffany. Patrick enjoys the challenge of painting his perceptions and reflections on the world around him. Nancy works in a variety of mediums, mixed media techniques, collage, and acrylics to create a fusion of figurative and abstract styles. The exhibit is titled A Menagerie of Nature, and you can find the gallery hours at fctv.org. I'd also like to invite you to watch the latest episode of Falmouth in Focus. There's some wonderful pieces. One of them's about heroes and new recruits at the Falmouth Police Department. Another is a documentary about the legacy of service by Cape Verdean contributions to the U.S. military. And there is a piece about a former Hui engineer turned astronaut. Her name is Laura O'Hara. It features the communication she had with Falmouth Public School students direct from the International Space Station. And it's a wonderful, wonderful piece. Nobody does it better than FCTV. Come on. I encourage everyone to become a member of the FCTV family. And now, on with the show. Hello, performers. Thrilled to see your faces. I'll introduce you by name. Please repeat your name before you perform. And I'm going to start us off. I asked my son if I could read this poem that I had written and dedicated to him. I wrote it for him and his turn towards the shining kindness on me and so many other people in our life. It's called The Light Years. The Light Years. For John, who has traded his crutch for hope. My son works hard, prays hard, abstains. He's become a hugger, his speech peppered with the words, "Thank you so much," and "What can I do to help?" Turned seeker in his need to read, he acquires a library card, invites deep discussions about why we're here. For our family little ones, he gets down on his knees to build sandcastles, draw scribbles, plays endless games of Jenga and Donkey Kong, and throws nonstop hoops even in the snow. Once, he saved a neighbor's dog at night. Another time, he helped a young woman lost in her addled addiction. Often, he works the hard jobs for elders when they flounder. Together, he and I tunneled through the blighted years to this place, mountain-topped with his kindness. As my legs fail, his brawny arms reach through the open door, resurrect me from the driver's seat. And because my mothering eyes can no longer pierce the darkness, he takes the wheel, drives through the night, into the light. Thank you. And we have our friend Patricia Austin. So glad you're starting us off.
Hi, my name's Patricia Austin, and I don't know, must be something spiritual tonight because I think I'm hearing bells everywhere. There are wind chimes. Anyway, kindness is a very interesting subject because it's not just being nice. To be kind is much more broad than that. So, I have 4 little poems, 4 short poems. Indictum. If any life is less than life, then there is no life. If any one is less than all, then there is no one. If God is less by any name, then there is no God. Terrapinski, diamondback terrapin, endangered species, turtle hatchling, tiny, innocent, eyes that know with childlike awareness. Penetrating mind, able to connect with kindness. Saved from being breakfast for bird, raccoon, or even chipmunk. Rescued when the size of a quarter by government-sponsored head starting, with intent of safe return to the wild, having grown too large for the predators swallow. Loved by keepers in momentary sanctuary, although loving the wild is not ascribed. Growing and preparing to work the forces of the wetland, returned back into the great marsh to reproduce and multiply. Alive, we hope, in his own world, despite the danger. I named him Terrapinski, an extraordinary creature. Sorry about that. I wore my little turtle pin in honor of TP, as we used to call him. But where do we come from? Into the womb of the world, into the mix of forces that make us, although not us, they will inevitably be shared. The pain and fear from the origin of so many before us now shape our being and becoming. We will choose to take the burden, wear the sackcloth, for those ahead in the wilderness cannot continue without our strength. The stroke of love, regardless of despair, ensures a lifeline back to death. Missive for the future. We the old know more than you. It's yours to discover, ours to scoff, and sigh and wonder why. A question that for you rarely comes to fore. A question that for us is written on the door. We know that you'll face challenges of which we never dreamed, because our own dreams seemed so real. And though you may feel little in the face of it, you must remember you are not alone. All that is helpless comes to you for care and feeding and the truth. You are the giants in the cognitive realm. Although so much seems bigger in the physical world, it is you who drives decisions and makes revisions to the whole. Remember, you are not alone. You must remember, you are not alone.
Thank you so much, Patricia. All God's children includes the animals, and we are not alone. I'm not alone. You're not alone. You're right. We have to remember that. Thank you so much. Wayne Stook, and he has his trusty guitar again. Yay! Thank you. Good to see you.
Thank you. I almost read this instead of playing any music to it. As late as I wrote it 3 weeks ago, and I thought I should just read it, and then I just couldn't resist. I'm going back 47 years here for this, so you kind of get the idea of what this is all about. I guess I should have done this first. Oh, she's beautiful. What a find. I can't believe she'll dance with me. I must be out of my mind. Oh, the next week, another girl, another date. She likes to dance a lot. I'm just leaving work. I better not be late. Oh, what a kick it was to be 21. Like a fox hunting chicks. Each weekend always having fun. Then one day my carefree lifestyle got complicated some. After a long day of work, coaching, running in the very hot sun, I walked to the ball field and I heard the yell of a faculty friend. Little did I realize my first year carefree lifestyle was about to end. Dave did the intros. Ring, this is Mary. Mary's my good friend. Is she lovely? Yes, I thought. But something froze me in my place. I sensed a kindness in her voice and a smile upon her face. I said, and they laughed at me. You're a fool, I hope you're not too late. One evening while partying in the city with these rowdy lads, we crashed her high school reunion. It was a setup I'd been had. I tried to dance with her, but each time I stood and tried, my alcoholic condition slowed my walking, and another guy was by her side. I sobered up real fast, then danced and held her close to me. She told me all her future goals. Not just a party girl was she. I felt her intellect and kindness on our 5 weeks of dates. Later one evening after a movie and driving in my car, I said, I think we should get married. And she never laughs so hard. I kinda hit the brakes. But 3 weeks later, when I gave her a diamond ring, she laughed and said to me, after that movie and before you proposed to me, you closed the door on my leg. Why didn't you say something to me? I think someone's been looking out for me. I was just a fool. No one teaches you how to find the perfect mate in any public school. Beauty captures all of us and can make us look the fool. But I have learned and been saved by that kindness is the trait that really rules. Thank you.
Thanks, Wayne. What a lovely chronicle, a lovely love song. Thanks for that. Oh, Sue Beth Carlson. You have your cute ute. Yay.
Okay, let's try that. Hello again. So this is my ukulele jicama. And this song came from a poem written for the 30th birthday party of FCTV. It's called See the Wave, and sea is spelled like the ocean. Oh no. I am discombobulated. See the wave of empathy, growing with the storm, recycling fear and anger into works of heart transformed. Ripples of creativity expand from our ocean home to lands afar on this earthen place with script of sea and foam. Their messages reach to every shore, and their liquid light with release floats in a mist into the sky as if it will never cease. See the wave of empathy growing with the storm, recycling fear and anger into works of art transformed. See the wave of empathy flowing with the storm, recycling fear and anger into works of art transformed. Now heavy with tears from its view above, drops of care to the ocean return, and each drop inspires creativity in ripples waving on as they learn. See the wave of empathy growing with the storm, recycling fear and anger into works of art transformed. Thank you for your patience. So that was one, and I have one more for you. This is actually my take on an old song. It's called Green Thumbs, and it's about being kind to the earth. Alas, dear spirit, you granted us all this beauty and this mystery. Granted, we do take it for to explore what we want of it. If instead we unfold these gifts, we will see we need not forsake thee. Nature of earth and humans here can paint canvases green in time. We need not look upon gifts with fear. We can all connect to receive them. Cherish each blossom and lightning bolt, for they each hold equal power. Can we unfold as continuing fields of wildflowers? Was it worth all the time it took to set up for that?
Thank you, Sue Beth Carlson. So I always feel like I'm outside when you perform. You know, because it has that atmosphere to it. Wave of empathy, my favorite line, and doing kindness to the environment. We're getting all kindness coming from all avenues tonight. That's wonderful. Thank you so much. And now we have Elaine Robinson.
first poem has to do with the theme of kindness a little differently. This is called Unwind. My body tense, so I unwind. Would you be so kind, says my mind. Let go, let God, He is kind. Relax your muscles, you will find a measure of your mind. It is to your benefit to unwind. Little ditty. Yeah. Okay, we just had Valentine's Day, and in December I read a Bigfoot story, a Christmas story about Bigfoot. So of course, Bigfoot now has to deal with Valentine's Day. All right, so poor Bigfoot meets Cupid. Okay, the big ape is walking through the forest when a loud, "Hey, Harry," causes him to stop suddenly. In front of Bigfoot, Cupid sits on a log, strumming a harp as gently as birds sing in the trees above the primate and the chubby man in a toga. A frown is on Bigfoot's face. "Not you again. Stay away from me, you weird little being. I'm not interested in human holidays. I have barely recovered from Halloween and Christmas was exhausting." Cupid jumps up and smiles at the large primate. "Oh, you are still alone. You need a love interest. It is Valentine's Day. Time for a Mrs. Bigfoot." Cupid pulls on his bow in an attempt to shoot his arrow at Bigfoot. The North American primate steps aside and the arrow goes directly into a hunter following Bigfoot. The stunned man stares at the arrow sticking out of his shoulder. His eyes are wide. He pulls out the arrow and falls to his knees. He is in love. Ooh, beautiful and wise. The tattooed covered individual almost sings his words. Bigfoot mutters, "Oh crap," under his breath. He doesn't need or want any humans in his life. He silently prays that Cupid will reverse the procedure, but the glowing angel just continues to strum his harp and hum softly. Birds sing even louder. Raccoons, deer, a bobcat, and a coyote wander over to see what is going on. Bigfoot is even more uncomfortable with all the attention. "I feel like I'm in a Disney movie, Mr. Cupid. Stop all this nonsense and shoot the arrow into someone else. I am not spending my time and life with this fool." Bigfoot points to the hunter who has a wide grin on his face. Cupid whistles and jumps up. "Step aside, Mr. Bigfoot. No, all is not what it seems." The big ape takes a step to the right and the hunter runs towards a tree. A great horned owl swoops down and perches on his shoulder. She rubs her face against his and a feeling of happiness is in the air. Bigfoot realizes that the man fell in love with the owl and she seems to be interested in him. The hunter turns around and walks away with the owl on his shoulder. Bigfoot raises his eyes towards the sky. He frowns at Cupid. "Oh, come on, a human and an owl?" Cupid ceases strumming his harp. "Ah, Mr. Hairy Ape, you are so jaded. I am the angel of love, all kinds of love. The hunter and the owl are lonely. They will be great companions. Valentine's Day is not just about romantic love." Bigfoot's friend, a Persian cat, Hairyfoot, arrives with a tiny stuffed bear in his mouth. He drops it at Bigfoot's feet. The large primate picks up the bear and warmth fills his heart. He thinks about how lucky he is to have all kinds of love in his life. Okay, so Bigfoot kind of got redeemed there. Okay, last poem, still dealing with Valentine's Day. This is called My Aorta. I love my aorta. She is the engine of my body, but the heart of my soul. She pumps that blood-filled oxygen that inhabits every breath. Happy V-Day, old girl. Keep ticking. You're special. Today I eat salad and grapes, your tasty treat to keep you alive. Beat fondly, beat steady, together as one, we embrace life. Okay, that's it.
Thanks, Elaine. A trio of ways to be kind. I find your mind is kind when you unwind. Thank you. And another wonderful Bigfoot chapter in his life. Thank you for that. Ron Zweig, God bless you for being here.
Thanks a lot. It's indeed an honor and a privilege to be part of Poetic License. And I'd like to thank Donna and FCTV and all of you for being here and all of you people out in television land. Yes? Oh, yeah, sorry. Oh. I'm not a performer, so I don't know about microphones. Anyway, I guess I'll repeat. I just want to thank FCTV and Donna and all of you and the crew for having these Poetic License sessions. I think they're wonderful for the community and give us all a chance to explore and to experiment with things. I was going to do a bit more tonight, but I'm just going to do one poem that I wrote, and it really has to do with sort of, as close as the topic is concerned, to sort of a non-sentient nurturing by the environment, okay, basically. And so it's sort of a way of things that we get messages from the environment, and therefore a form of non-sentient kindness in a way. So this, which might be a bit of a stretch, but this is a poem. It's called At the Edge. A wave rolls in, cooling the sand that further up presses against my hand, dry and warm. In the grains, tiny prisms sparkle as if with kindness, while intertidal stones clack as the wave rolls back. Wind-driven and strengthened, glistening, water cycles and turbulence at the sea's edge. Yes, the same water tumbles in place over and over, energized by distant and nearby forces as they come ashore. Another wave crests toward me, crashes, surges, recedes, resonantly rounding the ever-changing rocks. The repetition is as hypnotically calming as it is mesmerizing. Flow and ebb, one after another, in radiant warmth. Thoughts emerge within the oneness of the moment from a forceful matrix of past and recent memories that bring me to a moment of new awareness, spiraling outward from what I already know. Okay.
Thank you, Ron. That was beautiful. What did I write down? You showed us the light and sparkle of water as it tumbles at the edge. Really, really nice. Very effective. Also, I noticed you came up and showed gratitude, and that is definitely a way to be kind to other people. So thank you for that. Christine Foisy, come on up. I wonder.
You wonder. Hi, Christine Foisy here, and my kindness poem you shall now hear. Not a poet, nor a writer me, yet writer's block, how can it be? But alas, this too shall pass. I just hope it's good and fast. Well, in my happy place, this dilemma I did face. My plan B is adaption. An old poem, I changed the caption. Comforting kindness. My best friend is our own Elaine Robinson, and having her friendship is number one. To say she likes animals is unfair. She loves all animals, our cats, she takes care. Our diabetic Minnie she cared for. The challenge began when first in the door. Insulin injections did not hurt, but Cat Minnie did her best to divert. When the Rainbow Bridge Minnie did cross, Elaine also mourned her loss. She wrote a comforting poem saying Minnie was happy in her new home. So having Elaine's permission, Minnie and the Mermaid is my poetic submission. Minnie and the Mermaid by Elaine Robinson. Fluffy feet like slippers, gray, white, and orange. Minnie is a beauty who at age 19 flew to the Creator's lair, greeted by a mermaid swimming in soft clouds. A feline and a woman of the ocean deep sit together on coral. The wind carries joyful meows and the sound of rolling waves. Cat and mermaid together in a happy place, dreams and fur, fish tales and music. The next life embraces Minnie and the mermaid. This poem, with her words so kind, gave much comfort to my grieving mind. Thank you.
Thank you, Christine, and Elaine, too. Nothing like good friends. As far as kindness goes, nothing like it. Ellen Todd, my soul sister.
We have had those incidences more than once, haven't we?
Yes.
Yes. My name is Ellen Todd, and I have an essay on kindness. It took me a while to find inspiration to write about kindness. My first thoughts went to an opposite of kindness, and that bullying is anything but kind. Even though that's an important subject, I didn't want to go to such a dark place for tonight. It would also be really easy to just cast aspersions about lack of kindness or to boast about things of kindness. So I was really stuck. Then one evening, a simple conversation with John, our resident limerick writer, inspired me. Kindness can be more than large gestures, such as giving a car to someone in need. There are little acts of kindness that most of us experience every day, often without even noticing them. Yet these small acts of kindness make living together easier, make friendships stronger, and create cohesive communities. I've often seen John notice someone out of the corner of his eye and turn to hold a door open, usually for a young woman struggling with a baby carriage and packages. This takes very little effort on his part, but the smiles that he receives or the tired thank you tells us that his act is much appreciated and needed. I've also been on both the receiving and giving end of kindness in the grocery store. I bet most of you have too. Think of allowing somebody to move ahead when they've got only 2 or 3 items in their cart and you're buying a whole cartload of groceries. I've had it work both ways on my part, and I've always appreciated when someone has given that kindness to me. And there are many smaller gestures that make everyday life at home run smoothly. Some are gestures of loving kindness, others are simply everyday courtesy. It makes me smile almost every morning when John brings me a cup of coffee, fixed exactly the way I like it. It surprises him on those few mornings when I manage to get the coffee for him. We both appreciate each other and the kindness of this. And then there's the mundane acts of things that you do around the house. Throwing away an empty cereal or cracker box, replacing the used up roll of toilet paper, adding something to a shopping list when you've almost used it up rather than waiting until it's entirely gone, cooking someone's favorite food, doing dishes and unloading the dishwasher, cleaning up something that somebody else spilled, and doing these things without fanfare or complaint. That creates an atmosphere of kindness. But there's another kind of kindness, too, that is when you're out in the world and you notice a need and you do something about it. I have one really great story about that. When my mother was living with my stepfather in Reston, Virginia, they had a kitchen where she could look out and see the neighborhood in their little cul-de-sac. And she noticed a new couple moving in next door along with the mother of one of them. And the mother was carrying a big vase filled with coins. She tripped on a step and fell, breaking the vase and cutting her hand. And immediately this family rushed off to the emergency room to have the mother's hand stitched up. My mother saw this and thought, they looked so tired. Everybody's tired when they move. And she grabbed a broom and a dustpan, and she went out and she swept up the mess and washed the coins and cleaned the sidewalk. The people came back from the emergency room expecting to have to deal with this mess, and it was all taken care of. They finally figured out that it was my mother who had done it, thanked her a lot. They became friends. My mother became friends with their children. She was sad when they moved away. But years later, my mother and stepfather had moved to Massachusetts, and this family moved to Massachusetts too. And the friendship was rekindled. And when my mother was in her last month, this family and their 3 children were among the last friends who came to visit her. And in that way, this kindness came full circle and was repaid in a way that nobody expected when my mother cleaned up all that broken glass.
Thanks, Alan. I love true stories like that. And can I ask a question? How long have you two been married?
We'll be married 25 years in June.
25 years. Well, I predict you'll be going for another 50 because you treat each other with kindness. And that's the only way a marriage can be. That's the only way it can last. So thank you for that, all your thoughts. And now to hear from the other half, John Jackson.
I have said this before. I have married well. My name is John Jackson. It's been an interesting couple of months. I missed last month's taping, and mostly what I do are political limericks straight from the headlines, depending on how lazy I am and whether or not I read the articles. So a lot of that just sort of is disposable. If I get the facts wrong or something changes. So anyway, it's been an interesting couple of months, been very busy, a lot of changes. I noticed this is rather one-dimensional. One topic sticks out rather too much. Oh well. New Year's Day 2024, a presidential election in store. Be sure you take note in casting your vote. We might not get to vote anymore. No place for losers. The winningest NFL coach should be well beyond our reproach, but the ownership that sees Patriots become patsies sees the butterfly turn to a roach. In the contest upcoming Presidencia, one aced the test for dementia. His logic has holes. When you go to the polls, tell them that Sleepy Joe sent you. Those who forget history. The king does no wrong. Charles I said it. A past president believes so. I've read it. But the MAGA cults should know the results. King Charles I was beheaded. Trump forced the RNC schism to indulge naked nepotism and stoke the fires with election deniers since the White House is better than prison. Ash Wednesday, February 14th. Champagne and flower money was spent to convince your sweetheart to relent. The sweets that you bought will all go for naught. They gave up Valentine's for Lent. Family business, the family is barred, and paying that fine will be hard. Expect Trump to expectorate, and I hope the electorate in November has him feathered and tarred. There's that man who simply can't lose. If you think otherwise, that's just fake news. When his fortune seemed bleaker, he shows up with a sneaker, selling $400 clown shoes. If one took embryos and then chilled them, Alabama considers them children. Even though they're not viable, the state could be liable if act of God or blackout then killed them. Patricia says she's sorry, but she's not. Genitalia at birth either out or they're in sets assumptions on the world they live in. But one may amend her, his or their gender, to match how they live in their skin. And one written on demand at last moment. Extremists will show certain blindness about character, which ought to remind us. We should vote on the basis of what's seen in the faces and choose on the side of more kindness. Thank you.
Thank you, John Jackson. You always keep us laughing. You and Jon Stewart, you should form a band. Oh, well, this is something new, something different. During the COVID years, we were on Zoom for Poetic License. A lot of the people who performed tonight were on Zoom on a regular basis. And a lot of the friends that we made on the virtual Poetic License live quite far away, and there's no way that they can come and join us here in the studio in Falmouth. And so we've decided to end each program by the month with one of these virtual Zoom friends. Tonight, one of our virtual poets from the Zoom years is Maria Silverman, and she's going to entertain you with a poem about the dragon and the phoenix.
You are behaving terribly, she snarled. What did you say? You pity yourself too much. It didn't work out. Move on. I don't think you understand what it meant to me, how hard I worked. You just go on and on because you don't know how to be kind. Oh, I'm going to get a cab. And she stepped off the stoop. I came all this way to see you. They stood there, the older woman and the younger, one on the step, one off. And then the door opened. They were letting people in. They passed under the red lantern and sat down at a long table across from each other. Their eyes didn't meet. They looked down at the white rice paper, the long hair brushes resting on pots of black ink. They looked at the blank paper, waiting for it to say something. They waited to feel white, both still boiling red with anger. Both of them still thought of rising and leaving, but were rooted by the strangers alongside them. The teacher was a young Chinese woman in pink angora, soft and sweet. She asked them to look up and showed them how to hold the brush like a dragon's claw, pinched between forefinger and thumb and guided by the next two fingers, perched, careful. They were being asked to make words more carefully than they just had. Everything seemed as broken and spilled open as the ink. They dipped the brush slowly and left the extra ink on the edge of the pot. If only they had left their extra words aside earlier. We are going to make fu, a blessing. You start from left to right, up to down. And they began to make the strokes. They had run out of words, so they painted silently. At first, they used too much water and the ink bled, making a blob on the paper. Then too much ink, and the strokes ran together, losing their meaning. Then too little ink, so the strokes were tentative and halting, like something begun and left unsaid. Finally, they began to glide. Their shoulders settled and they breathed. They practiced fu over and over, making a row of them. The younger woman looked up. You are doing so well. I don't know what I'm doing. And then went back to working. The older woman worked on double happiness, locked in its pleasing structure, and the younger made dragon soaring, tiger leaping, the fierce tiger opposite her, now at rest. Their ire dripped out in the ink, and the slow movement of the brush slowed their beating hearts. It was an old practice, but new to them. And when they made their final characters on red paper printed with a golden dragon, they looked up at each other and smiled. The fierce, confident tiger and the determined, steady water ox, having set their blessings for each other into ink. Once written, they didn't need to be said.
The world is full of giving, positive people. However, I've always looked to the Dalai Lama because he lived as such an extraordinarily kind example for the world. So this last poem of mine is called His Religion is Kindness. His religion is kindness. Does the Dalai Lama need those glasses, guided entirely by all-embracing love? I practice his smile, his larks of laughter, his perennial kindness. He's the North Star I follow, striving to sit on a pillow by his right side. But occasionally, the skulking snake of discontent glides up my spine. With spit and hiss of hatred, it slides out my mouth. Amber eyes like cat's eye marbles stare, intent on harm. I ask myself, what would the Dalai Lama do? He would never shove the snake in a bag to drown it in the aching cold deep of a river. Never take a rock to smash the light out of those bewitching eyes. Surely his compassion would gentle it with honeyed words. Give it a name. Wrap it in a blanket of forgiveness. Then invite it home for tea, and the first letting be that snake has ever known. This edited performance will be shown on FCTV's Channel 6, also on YouTube as well as via Roku and Apple TV. Friends out there, wherever you are, if you would like to be a performer on Poetic License, please join us. The next Poetic License is Thursday, March 28th. The suggested theme will be siblings. siblings for March. And heads up about the future in April, the theme will be nature. And be sure you look up all the definitions of what nature can be. You can sign up to be a performer by sending a text to our wonderful producer, Tony Sedera. His email is tony@fctv.org. Or you can simply come to our studio on Dillingham Ave at 7 o'clock the night of each live performance to enjoy being a live audience member. Thank you again, Tony, for your awesome help. Thanks to the Dynamite camera crew. And thank you most of all, performers. We love you and your kind sharing of your talents with us. So, until we meet again, peace and shine on, everybody.